Hello. Welcome back to another Heroes Huddle. This is Heroes Huddle number 3. If you guys don't know what Heroes Huddle is, this is where we go over replays together. It's pretty similar to when I used to upload videos with replays, but we're going to just do them in the Heroes Huddle. That way you can ask questions, I can ask you questions, we can get your brain turning, and you can become a better player with the process instead of just kind of having to look at a video and maybe not understanding what you're looking at. We'll be doing something like this for a while, but if you guys don't like it, I will go back to doing the other thing. I just have some other videos planned, and so I didn't want the replays to take over. I didn't want the replays to take over. To take over all the time for those videos. So that's what we're going to be doing. Now, we're going to do it today instead of Saturday, only this week, because the replays are going to be removed on Friday. So that's why you're seeing it now and not on Saturday. But every other day will be Saturday. If you guys want to put your replays in the destination change, check the link in the description below. It'll be in my Discord. You can put your replay there and it will be held. If you guys want to try to hop in, I'm going to just try to go through as many as possible. On a regular day that I do these, I usually just do one DPS or one tank, one DPS, and one healer. And then if someone from the chat, most likely, if we have time. But because today is the last day before they all reset, if you guys want to try to put your replays in, I can try to get to them. And we're just going to try to go through as many as we can today. Try to be descriptive with what you're asking, just so that way I can answer the question and talk about it and move to the next replay. But yeah, put your replays in the free replay tab in my Discord, and then we can go from there. I'm probably gonna keep saying that throughout the video or throughout the stream, but yeah. All right, so let's go. You guys know how this works. I ask questions, you guys answer the questions. If you want to, think about it at home. If you're watching the replay, what have you, you don't have to answer it. It's just a good way to get your brain thinking. And we're gonna go through this replay. So this person said, this is what I'm gonna read what the person said, because each person, when they write a review, I ask them to tell me why. So this person said, I stay flaming my DPS, but I want to see what I did wrong as well, besides missing ults, but I'm biased. Okay, this is something that a lot of players struggle with. Once you hit Grandmaster or Celestial, people tend to not really know what to do to climb anymore. And it's not necessarily because they're bad or anything like that, but the higher you get, the less obvious your issues are, and the higher you get, the more of a team player you have to be. And obviously, you need to have good mental. So that comment, we have to work on mental, and we already talked a little bit about it in our Discord when we were talking. But anyway, let's roll. So we're playing mag. We're not solo tanking, but we are on defense. Oh, actually, this is the wrong game. I think. Oh no, is this the right game? This is the right game. This is the right game. Okay, this is the right game. All right, let's roll. So we're pretty much doing our thing. When you're tanking, you want to be careful. Magneto can't really back up. Magneto is one of those characters that you just have to mind your distance, and you're going to have to give up space, especially with rush down characters. It's not really just Magneto. It's more or less just everybody. Let me be honest. Every hero needs to just learn how to get up space. Also, Ray, hello, good to see you. iTest, good to see you. You doing last minute replays? Yes, I am. So feel free to pop yours up. Demarius, hello, good to see you as well. All right, so yeah, we do want to give up space. The thing is, we're standing in the middle of nowhere trying to do damage, and what this does is it makes us take damage. Your healers are Jeff and Cloak and Dagger, and these two healers are pretty awful in terms of being able to heal multiple targets at the same time. They're very destination-based healers. They can't track you, and Cloaks is a bubble, right, that can't move around, and then Jeff has a gun that can move around, but for the most part, he doesn't really want to. He just wants to sit on you. So you have to be in a position that makes it so that Jeff can sit in a spot and shoot, while also Cloak and Dagger can sit in a spot and line up her bubbles and be able to heal you. This spot right here means that if you were to tank right here, your healers are going to be in a really awkward location because there's no cover here, right? You can kind of say that there's cover, but not really. They can come from the stair. There's nothing to do there. If they move forward, they're going to get lit up here. There's not really anywhere that they can go. But if you tank a little bit further back, like right here, if you really want to, you can tank right here, especially because you have 2 tanks, and just kind of do that. They're able to sit further around the stairs, and should they have to run away, they have health packs here. They can sit here and not really have to worry about getting blasted. Just things to think about when you're tanking. As you see, your Jeff just got KO'd because he's in a weird spot. As a tank, you're always the driver of the bus. You have to remember that. Everybody is going to go where you go. Everybody's going to try to line up with you. Everybody's going to try to do whatever you want to do. And this hits even more the higher rank you get. So you have to be the one to know, is my team in good spots? If they're not, they're going to get run over. Especially because you have a character like the Thing. You have Moon Knight, so that means you know you need to be separated. You have Groot, so you can't get yourself walled off. Like, there's a lot of reasons on why you need to position well for this match, and not just for your team. So we do give up space, which is good. Very good. That's a lot of space given up, which is what you need. You didn't want to get rushed down. Here, you're running away too much. I know you want to get away from them, but now you're just giving up way too much space. You need to, when you start backing up like that, you don't just back up because you're scared. You need to back up with the intention of where you're going. If we were going to back up and we're going to hold, you need to sit on this wall and start holding. Well, the way that you played is you kind of just backed up like you're scared. The good thing about being a tank that knows how to hold their position is that the enemy doesn't really know if you're scared or not unless you continue to act scared. So if you get on this wall and start shooting them back, they might think twice about charging you because they don't really know where your team is. Yes, they KO'd your team, but they don't see your team, right? So it can look like, oh my God, his healers are there, even though Cloak and Dagger is there. And you can hold this spot for a little bit and then have a retreat in mind after that, or they just might not even bother to push you and sit on cart. But when you do that, when you just run back like this, it's very obvious that you're scared and then just keep pursuing. Now, the issue here is, where do you go? Same thing with your healer. You have these people in such awkward positions every fight that it makes it very hard to be able to play with you. So you try to regain control, which is fine. Again, we really shouldn't have given up that much space because those tanks shouldn't have gotten KO'd. They should have just been able to hold that position. But it's fine. We got it back. We got it back. You see, even now, we're just still standing in the middle of nowhere. And I'm only being harsher on you because you're a Celestial player. These are kind of things you should know already. But we're still standing in the middle of nowhere. And we're not using cover. We're just getting shot, getting hit, getting pounced on, and you're forced to retreat because you're getting so much pressure. People can't do things to you if you're always behind walls. Like, it's very difficult. Also, you can trick characters like the Thing, Hulk, Cap, sometimes Thor, if you bait them. I actually did this on stream last night when I was getting my account to Celestial. So there was this pillar. I'm pretty sure you guys can see on the screen. So there was this pillar that was like this big, and it was on that new map, and it's on the first point. I decided to stand more towards cover to the left, but then I was like, I'm gonna go this way because Thor was here. Thor was about like right there, and so I said, and I voiced it before I even did it because that's what I usually do when I stream. I said, I'm gonna go behind this rock, and it looks kind of weird. But if Thor is going to try to fight me, because he's already looking like he wants to, he's going to get pulled behind this rock and he's not going to notice, and he's not going to be able to get heals. Dude comes behind the rock with his, dashes, but he's stuck now. He's behind the rock and his healers can't see him. And he gets KO'd. This is what you need to think about when you're playing tank. It's not just about, getting heals. It's not just about sitting in the front. You have to have a mindset. It's not even just tank, really. It's just game sense. You have to really be thinking on levels like that. If you want to hit Eternity, you want to hit one above all. People that are Eternity, unless they get carried, people who are one above all, unless they get carried, those players are actually good, like really good. And they don't think how, I guess low Eternity players might, skate by. I'm not going to lie. But if they're mid to high Eternity, I'm talking about like 150 points, 200 points deep, those players are real. And those are the things that people like that think about. So you need to be on that wavelength. If you want to try to get anywhere, you want to try to carry your teams and whatnot, you have to be thinking like that. There's no preemptive thinking. You're just playing the game moment to moment to moment to moment, but you don't really know what you're doing and why. And even if you feel like you do, it's really written on your gameplay that that's not what's happening. So that's something that you really have to work on if you want to climb. So it has nothing to do with DPS. It has nothing to do with healers. There's nothing to do with your other tank. It's our own gameplay ourselves. And we just don't realize that because we're so caught up on looking at everybody else. But when you look at everybody else, you miss your own gameplay. And when you miss your own gameplay, you're not going to be able to climb. It doesn't matter what game it is. So you have to be very, very cautious about thinking like that because you're going to stunt your growth. You're going to be in the same spot for a long time. The tank doesn't have a lot of power in sense of, like, I think healers have more dictation over fights being won because obviously they have a heal ultimate. But I think tanks have much more, they have the power to facilitate, and that's still a really good power to have on a role like tank. So you have to abuse that. You know, you have to abuse where you're going to fight. You have to abuse where your team's going to stand. You have to abuse all these things when you're playing tank if you really want to be impactful. Right now, it just kind of seems like an average Joe type of tank where it's like, I would just feel like you're a fill, not an actual tank player. So that's what I feel like looking at the replay. I'm pretty sure your team probably feels like tenfold. So you have to really start putting that best foot forward, really putting your foot down and showing what a real good tank looks like and not just standing there being a tank and just sitting in the role. You know what I mean? There's a big difference. There's a big difference. We'll watch a little bit more, but I think it's just going to be a mix. I think it's going to be a rinse and repeat of the same. But let's see. So as I said before, we need to figure out a spot to stand so that your whole entire team is safe. You're running a bit too far. There's not really any cover. We're still standing out in the middle. Your team can't be safe because you're in a really awkward spot. It's the same. It's the same. So we're missing a lot of fundamentals on tank. This is kind of why I don't really like Marvel's rank system, because people can climb without knowing this type of stuff. And then when people hit a wall, they hit a wall hard, and it gets more frustrating because the climb wasn't gradual. The climb was just like, I played my character well enough to just get ranks. But there's a lot more to the game than just playing your character well enough. And the game doesn't tell you that. The game doesn't teach you that. It doesn't show you that because of the way the rank system is made. Hopefully next season, that's going to change, and there's going to be much more gradual improvement for every player. So that way they can learn all these basics. They can learn all this stuff that makes a solid player. And then as they climb, they, build that as well as build their character maintenance and things like that. But as I said, it's the same thing pretty much over and over again. And those things talked about, if we worked on those, we'd be an exceptional player, but we can't really do that if, we're not thinking like that. This is why it's important to always think about us, because these are the things that we're missing. Always remember, the higher rank you go, the harder it is to see what you need to work on. And it doesn't mean you don't need to work on anything. It just means you need to take the time to look at one of your replays by yourself and just think about, what is something that you generally struggle on, and then watch it back. Sometimes you can even figure it out yourself. Be like, oh, I knew I'd struggled on that, and then fix it like that. But you got to be in that improvement mindset. So we're going to go ahead and close this replay out. I'm going to move to the next one. As I said, if you guys want to have your replays done, make sure you guys go to my Discord. There's a free replay tab. Put your replay code there. Put your reason why you want the replay. I'm just going to get through as many replays as I can before all the replays reset. So that is the entire goal of this stream. Doesn't matter what role you are. That person just happened to be tank, and so did this person. And yes, I do Adam Warlock reviews. Doesn't matter. I climbed all roles, so I have a perspective on all roles, and I've played all characters. So doesn't matter what you play, who you play. EOMM agent. I actually know that guy. He was in my games too. What rank is this? I seen him when I was climbing this season. It's actually comedy. All right, so this person said for this replay. What's up, Freddy? Hello, hello. Chaos, good to see you. Martumer, hello, hello. Joe Murray, good to see you. This player says, oh wait, let me get on the right player. Oh, there he goes. I was like, I don't see his name. So this player says, I just want to know what I could have done to win the second round. I feel like my subs KO'd out of nowhere every fight. How can I position better when solo tanking is in domination? Good question, because that is definitely hard. But the cool part is, if you could solo tank on Convergence or Convoy on defense, you could solo tank on anything, because that's the hardest place to do it. That is the hardest place to do it. When it comes to solo tanking, you have to remember it's all about being patient. You can't rush, you can't force, you can't do anything. And it doesn't really matter what character you are. Some people are like, certain characters can't solo tank and blah, blah, blah. From experience, you can solo tank with all the characters. It just depends on how you do it. You know, Strange and Magneto can do it they can relax and do it. But if you guys see me solo tank as Cap or as Thor, you guys know I'm not playing that way, right? It's a different way you have to play. Every character has to play their own way to solo tank, but some characters are obviously harder than others. And you have to keep that in mind. If it's just easier for you to tank on another character, then just take on that character. Don't make it harder on yourself. All right, here we go. Moving in, playing Thor. There's duo tanking too. Oof. This is gonna be hard because there's an Angela. This is gonna be really hard. So with this, Jesus, this is gonna be really hard. I don't even think I would solo tank into this with him. But what you're trying to do is you're gonna just play really defensive. You're not playing passive. Big difference, big difference. You're playing defensive. And you have to ask yourself, as a player, is there anything that you could deal with as Thor? This goes for every single tank that you play. When you're solo tanking, you can't deal with everything by yourself, period. Doesn't matter what character you are, it's just impossible. You need to limit. You need to ask yourself, what can I deal with as the hero that I'm playing with? If we look at their team, which one do you guys think that Thor has an easier time dealing with? I'll give you guys 5 seconds. Like I said, sometimes I want you guys to think. You don't have to respond if you don't want to. And then for the people that are watching the VOD, obviously you can't respond. But just something to think about. If I were solo tanking on Thor, and I'm playing defensive, not passive, what are the characters that I can actually manage to handle while still maintaining that front line for my team? Let me give it 5 seconds. Okay, so the ones that we can handle are going to be Iron Fist, Angela, and Thor. Now, I'm only one character. So how do I deal with 3? Well, you got to think about the priority. And you don't really know the priority because you haven't seen them fight yet. But if you start to notice Thor is always going on you, you can kind of ignore him. If you start to notice that Iron Fist is always chasing your Spider-Man, you can ignore him. The thing that is your lifeline is obviously your healers. So and you know, Bucky's going to be around you too. So in this instance, a lot of your gameplay is going to be around, well, how can I prevent my own KO? And how can I still maintain that space for my team? That's what we're thinking about in this entire section. So whoever is the most threat, that's what we focus. If they come all at the same time, you're going to be in trouble. But let's see how it plays out. And we'll be able to spot who's probably the threat of the most. Now you also want to keep in mind too, that Angela, you don't really need to do anything to her. You just pop your bubble and she can't really do anything anymore. So that's one way to handle her without having to really have all your focus put onto one character. When it comes to Iron Fist, he's probably going to focus you more than your team. So you're just going to look to dash around, but in the same location. And then when it comes to playing against the Thor, usually I just ignore him. I don't really think Thor versus Thor is that engaging. Let's see. You see what I mean? That was already so obvious before this match even started, because you said your team KO'd out of nowhere. We are, and you're playing Thor. So it was really obvious that you were going to play it like this. You have to play more defensive, not passive, but defensive. You can't just walk out because you don't have anyone to watch this. When you walk out like this, let me do it this way. When you walk out like this, you're leaving an entire gap for them to just come on in. If you guys are more close-knit, there leaves no gaps, and they just kind of like have to bounce off. You know what I mean? They can't do much. Because you don't have a shield, you have to play a little bit more differently, and you have to probably remain in there a little bit more and let them commit and come inside of your team, so that way you guys can handle them and then push out. It's more of going to be like a defense to offense tactic rather than just waiting for your team to make plays. because, can't really do much as a solo tank. Let's see how it plays out. So you turn around now, but you just gave up the space that you just got. This is why when you're playing solo tank, you have to think about the space that you take and can you maintain it? Because if you lose it, you have to do it all over again. And it could probably lead to KOs on your team. It can lead to a lot worse. So take your time. Be slow, be intentional, and get the space. So if I were to play this out, I would have started here right off the bat. Boom, boom, boom. Fire and stuff. If I had an opening, maybe I'd come this way. Right? Because someone's going to get close to this door, believe it or not. And as they do that, rush them in. Boom. Did I take my team out the cover? No, because remember, the tank is the bus driver. If I walk out like this, my team is going to assume they can walk out like that. You're telling them you're being fake, right? You're telling them it's safe when it's not. That's a bad tank. You can't do that. If I stay back here, they're not going to walk past me unless they're trolling. So they're going to sit in here with me. If I go around here, nothing signals to them to go. They probably don't even know I left, to be honest. But they are safe because they're in this little area. We kept them in a good spot. As someone decides to dive in, we can then rotate and push off. If someone were to attack the door, we could smack them a little bit. Maybe we can smack some people out here. We're just kind of playing defensive and waiting for our time to shine. So it would have happened because they have very dive-heavy characters. They would have just dove into your team anyway, and you guys would have been good. It's pretty similar to that. Like, that's what would have happened if you played it slower. Luckily, your team was just good enough to handle it, but you can't always think like that. It's just better to do the easy thing instead of the hard thing. You're doing it again, though. You did it. You did it first. You did the first time, and it almost got you KO'd. And then we do it again, and we're once again leaving that gap. So it seems like they're getting KO'd out of nowhere, but it just means you're not paying attention. Even when I stream, I say that all the time. I'm like, bro, where are you? What are y'all doing? But I'll slow down and see what they're doing. Sometimes it's stupid situations like this that I have to impact. So be very careful because you can't pressure without them. So you come back, try to go back in. Again, luckily your team survived without you. But this is, again, a lucky thing. Surviving twice without the tank is kind of rough. So we go back in, doing it again. I know it sucks, but you're doing it again. You're making it so that there's that gap. Oops, trolling. You're making it so that there's that gap between you and your team that can be filled by the enemy. And either they're going to walk out to try to help you or they're going to stay in and be scared. Either way, somebody's getting KO'd. Again, unless you're lucky. So we remedy this, again, by playing slower. I think a lot of what people don't realize is that it's okay to take your time. I think sometimes people try to rush the point. People try to rush the convoy, try to rush things. Even if you have like 10 seconds left, it's okay. If they cap, it's fine. But think about it this way. You're trying to win the fight, not the point. Right? You can get the point after you win the fight, but you can't win the fight after you get the point. If we all rush the point without just mindlessly rush point, you're going to get eliminated. And that's that. That's what always happens. But the team that fights first and then gets the point gets the most out of it. If they cap for like 3%, okay. But if you win the fight and then you cap and you get 20 and then they're still struggling to get back on point, that's way better. So let them cap first. It's not a race. Not a race. It just gets you out of position. Again, you're kind of leaving that space open. You must be on comms because I don't know if I could have trusted my team like that. Can we get point? And my point stands, right? It's better to just let them cap and win. Your team was good enough to handle themselves, but I'm telling you that does not happen every single game. I'm telling you right now. Does not happen every single game. So you're going to find yourself in a situation replicating this exact play and lose. You have to really hammer that down that you can't leave your team like that because they most likely will follow you or just get left behind. Just play a little slower when you're solo tanking. That's all. When you have two tanks, go crazy. But solo tanking, you have to play a little bit slower. Okay? Ask ourselves a threat. At the moment, is it Iron Fist? Not really. Iron Fist is attacking you. Your team is straight. You just need to survive, which is fine. But we know Angela's looking. So we need to keep our eye out for her. Luckily, your team was able to capitalize on that. Sucky part is we wasted our ults. Not you, but your team wasted their ult. Luckily, your Cloak and Dagger has their ult back now. Not a problem. That's going to be your problem. Wait, did your team get KO'd? Wait, am I looking at the wrong team? No, yeah, that's not a problem. This is the problem. I was tripping for a second. I was like, did your team get wiped? But I'm looking at the wrong team. Yeah, that's not the issue. When you're solo tanking, your job is like what's on your team. It's not whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter what character you are. You have to be more understanding about who and what is messing with your team and play it like that. So I think really you're just playing a little bit too quickly. I don't think you just don't care about your team because you actively turn around and you pay attention. But you're not putting your team first. And when you don't put your team first as a solo tank, it becomes increasingly difficult to play the game. Because you're going to have those scenarios where it's like, every time I go, you guys are getting like crapped on. Right? It's not you. That's just how it plays. So you have to think about the more before you go in. You have to check with the more before you go in. Everything okay? Cool, I'm about to go. Everything okay? Cool, I'm about to go. One of the main things that I like to do when I play against like Cloak and Dagger, or play with Cloak and Dagger, is if I see that she wasted her bubble, I won't play the game until she has her bubble back again. It's not because, especially if I'm solo tanking, it's not because I can't play the game in general. It's just that it makes it easier for that Cloak and Dagger to heal me if I wait for her ability that heals me. It's just similar like that. You're waiting for their positioning, not just for your supports, but for your DPS as well. And then you play off of them. You're doing a good job with these mechanics, though. Respect. I'm just gonna watch a little bit more because I want to see if that's the only thing that's happening. Can't do anything about the Spider-Man. I'm glad that you held your ground. There was nothing you could do about it. Beautiful. Remember, you're always focusing on what you can and can't deal with. The last time Spider-Man came in, we could have dealt with them because he didn't. It was obvious. He was literally right there in your face. But this one, he just went right by you. You can't do anything about that. And you have people already in front of you. Very good job holding that. Very good job holding that. Somebody watches my content. Nice, nice. Okay, that Moon Knight. You can't really do anything about that. The dude just kind of came out of nowhere. Not your fault. Like, based off your camera angling, you didn't know he was there. You have to think, though, is he the problem? He just ulted and he just used his Ankh and his abilities. Is this guy right now a threat? No, he's a cooldown-based character. He could do damage here or there, but he used everything. Try to focus on what's in front of you. Eliminate her, because that's going to be the problem if she ults. Yeah, it's okay. I would have left circle. There you go. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Fight lost. Let's go. Okay, reset. This is like textbook, dude. All right, your Spider-Man actually got someone out. You need to just play on this now. Now. Go, 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 go. No, you just got to go in there. Go in there. You should dash here. Sit behind this. Bam, bam, bam. It's going to pressure them or they're going to stand there like idiots. And then you're going to get your dash again. Boom. Look for an ult. Bam. That's what I want to see. It's going to back them up even more. You're probably going to be able to stun or KO a target or force an ultimate if they have one. And then that's that. Unfortunately, your team doesn't have an ultimate, so you guys probably lost this fight anyway. But let's see how it works. Okay, you kind of... okay, that wasn't really what I was thinking you should do. But it works. It was a good try. It was a good try. I just think that was slow. I think that was slow. The thing is, that fight was one of those moments where you guys are looking at each other and someone needed to start the party. Because no one started the party, your team just like walked out. Your team walked out and they just looked at your team like, you're stupid. What are you doing? Bah, 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 bah. That's pretty much it. In that situation, you couldn't play slow. You had to go quick, pull the trigger fast, make them look at you, and be aggressive. This is usually what you will see when I stream. There are times where I'll play slow, but there's times where you'll see me just kind of like in there for like a second or two, and then it removes the focus from your team, makes them all focus you, allows your team to think about what they're about to do, and then capitalize on you. The issue is if you do that and get KO'd, you're cooked. So you have to be very careful about that. All right, I just think for solo taking in this game, you just play a little bit slower. Think about what your team's doing before you decide to go for a play, and you'd be all right. That one didn't seem too bad. All right, next game. Remember, if you guys want your replays, toss them into the Discord for the replay review. I'm mashing through replays to get them done because they're gonna reset anyway. So free replays for everybody. Just make sure you're detailed about why you want it. Okay, so review reason, masterclass in swapping and not giving up. Thing is my main when healing doesn't work because it's too many DPS players. I literally ended up giving them a yelling pep talk mid-match, and they even wanted to surrender. We still made it. Oh, okay. I was like, huh? But you're saying that when healing doesn't work for you, you just swap to the thing. Okay. Let's see. So we'll focus on why it looked like it probably didn't work, and how we can identify when we should probably swap. Now, you guys know me. I'm not really a huge fan on swapping. If I swap, it's more or less... I mean, to be fair, because I climbed all the roles, I can kind of cheat and play almost all the roles if needed. But like looking at the perspective of just like someone who doesn't waste their life on this game and they actually have other hours elsewhere, usually what I would recommend is to have a character that can do one thing and a character that can do another. So that way you can cover the weakness. So if I play, let's say, Doctor Strange, right? I don't even know what I'm doing. Bro, if you don't just type, my bad, I'm sorry. If I play Strange, right? And I'm like, okay, Strange is good at shielding, right? Strange is good at burst damage. But I need a character that can dive, or Strange can't dive. This is an example. You don't always need to play a dive character, but this is just an example. I need a character that can dive. Well, I should play a character that's as similar to Strange as possible that can also dive. There's not really many, to be real with y'all. So you would just think about, well, what character you want? Well, I want Venom. Okay, so now you have a character that can handle one strategy and another. If you are playing more front to back, if you're playing more structured, Strange is a great pick. If you're like, well, this game I need to swap because of the Hela is sniping people, well, then you have Venom, and you can just go pounce on Hela and try to play the game that way, right? So it's not about just picking what characters you love to play. Like if you really want to get to a high rank, it's not about picking characters you love to play, because sometimes they fill the same slot, and if they fill the same slot, you're going to get trapped. As an example, if I only know how to play Strange and Magneto, they do the same thing essentially, well, regardless. They kind of fulfill the same role. So if you need something else, you're going to lose games. See what I mean? This is why it's always important to have that extra. So if I am playing healer, what I would typically have is, I play a lot because I just get irritated at all of them. Like Gambit's the only true strategist that I think I would want to play back to back to back. But what I usually do is I play Loki as a default because I just like playing the character. I'll play Mantis if I want more healing that doesn't have to require aim. It's healing over time, but it's really good for not aiming. And then I'll play Ultron because he's very good at not being dove, right? He's very good at keeping people at a healthy HP so they don't get one shot by like Black Panther or something like that. He also is great for damage. Mantis is good for damage too, but Ultron can take out flyers and stuff like that. So now I have a few characters, right? If I want straight up damage, I can go Loki. If I want damage mixed with some healing, I can go Mantis. If I want sustained healing that's going to make sure that it keeps my backline topped off if we're getting dove, or if I need to take out flyers, I'll go Ultron. So I don't swap based off characters in the game. I more or less swap based off strategy. If I notice that people can't deal with flyers, I'm going to go Ultron if I'm playing healer. If I notice that my DPS aren't dealing with Hela, I got to figure out how do I deal with Hela. I'm going to go Venom. Does that kind of make sense there? That's pretty much how I look at it. So we're going to look at this and we're going to see where it looks like we could swap. If we need to even swap, and we'll go from there. What's up, Cameron? What's up, Melanetta? Hello, hello.
The battle starts in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay. So we're playing Rocket. We got to find a better position in this. You could probably just position here. He doesn't really bounce off, but at least you're able to keep the consistent. If you really want to try to bounce off, you can try to smack it on this pillar. If you're ever going to play Rocket, you just kind of have to think about things like this. Not saying you don't, but that'd be a great way to get it to bounce off. But for the most part, if you're going to get pushed, you need to have a place to retreat. And you're definitely going to get pushed from that spot, so just be careful. You thought to go closer. Okay. You just gaming. But you see how much reposition you had to do anyway? If you were already up here, they don't even see you unless you really show yourself. And you can heal. You can bank it off this. And it's going to heal your team that way. You can also bank it off that pillar right there, and it's going to bounce to the left. You can also bank it off that pillar. No, bounce to the left. So you can heal almost every direction that you're trying to heal from just from sitting right here. And if you get chased, you drop down, and climb right back up, and do the same thing over and over again. Ain't nobody about to chase a Rocket doing that on repeat. Nobody. It's not happening. If you're really afraid, you can stand more kind of like right here, because Rocket's very small. And they don't even realize you're here, and you're still doing the same thing. Bank it off that pillar that we talked about in the front right there. Bank it off that pillar there. You don't actually need to see your team to heal your team. So you're in a situation right now where you're trying to play really, really close, and you have to move around a lot, but you don't have to put this much pressure on yourself if you don't want to. Because all this makes it harder to heal who's there in here. Rocket is not really a character that needs to sit with his team. Remember that. That character is definitely someone who can chill somewhere really far away and still play the game. You're very, very close like an invisible woman. Now, the times where you need to be close like this is if you're getting chased by melee characters, then like you don't really have a choice. But we're still just really close. You're also like healing and bouncing around and healing and bouncing around. You're not getting sustained healing out of it. It's like it's not as good as you think. So when you do that, you're making it harder to aim at your characters because the balls are literally flying in many different directions. So it is healing, right? But it's also like flying in weird directions. So you have to be careful about turning around and holding it. If you're going to turn and move your camera, just stop shooting and then refocus yourself and shoot, because you're going to have to reload. If you're not healing me when you're turning left and turning right, and then you have to reload, I'm not getting healed for literally like 30 seconds. That's a very long time to not get healed. So just be more cautious about that. Also, the more people it goes through, it's going to just end up disappearing. So this is also why I recommend just getting really good at banking it off stuff, because you can get multiple heals if you went through her and bounced off the wall and comes back. It works like that. So this character is just all about angles. All about angles. So right now, I don't really see a reason to swap. We're going to keep going, though. We're not going to talk too much on Rocket because that's not really the focus. We're just trying to get through as many replays as possible. I like that you just weave it in your shots, though. A lot of Rocket players don't do that, so I'm loving it. That's kind of what happens when you get a little bit too close, but it's okay. It happens. It happens. Hopefully it doesn't KO your entire team. It did. So that fight was just kind of tossed because of us. We don't really need to swap to anything. It was just we got picked off and it caused us to lose that fight. That's all it was. So we're moving back. Good deploy placement, but you got to think about if I'm the enemy team, where am I going to come from? Down there and up there. So you shouldn't put it in a spot where you know they're going to walk through most of the time. They're already going up, you see? Yo, they're trolling. She was up here and she didn't see this? Nah. They're trolling. Oh, never mind. They see it. Nah. Scarlet Witch is trolling. She walked right in front of it and didn't touch it. That don't happen. She's griefing. I just think that fight was just a bad fight. It wasn't really a fight we should have fought. If you think fights are bad and you're playing strategists, it's perfectly okay. It's perfectly okay to not ult. I think a lot of strategist players try to salvage bad fights by ulting. Bro, lose the fight, start another one. It's fine. I do the same thing with DPS and tank. There's no reason to ult if you lost the fight already. Okay, we come in. Good avoid. I like that. I like that. But whenever you run like this, you realize you can't heal. Also, your team is extremely spread out. So most likely this fight's also lost. Oh, they were able to get the side lock. That's good. Your Strange got KO'd though. So now your Strange is solo tanking. Now this is rough because I wouldn't ult this. You don't have a tank. Don't do it. Okay, good. This is rough because it's really hard to solo tank into Thor. That whole entire team is hard to solo tank into, really. So what we're going to do is we're going to see, is he struggling or not? The thing about this ult is that it doesn't accomplish anything. Like it doesn't accomplish as much as you think it accomplishes. Whether or not you win this fight, you're not burning as much time as you think you're burning. And when you want to pop an ult, especially on defense, you want to try to pop it defensively. We know that they have no ults because we just seen them use it in that last fight. But let's just say we KO them. Their spawn is right there. But let's say if we let them move forward, commit, blow a lot of cooldowns, Thor ults, you know, maybe we get another ult and then we ult, then we win the fight. They literally expended a lot of their engage potential. They expended a lot of their ultimates. And then that's even more time they have to wait to get it back. You know what I mean? You have to think about that. That's more of just like ult economy in a nutshell. You don't really want to use your ult if you're not getting a lot of resources from the enemy while doing so. You see how nothing happened? Regardless of if you get KO'd or not. Regardless of if you get KOs or not, you didn't get anything worth getting from that fight. Like nothing at all. But imagine if you had ult when she was saying, you know, Neo Peasants. Imagine if you had ult for Mr. God of Thunder. And then they burned both of their tank ultimates. Now they don't have it anymore for the next fight. You won this fight. That's even better for you guys. That being said, though, clearly your tank is struggling. So you definitely need a second tank. I would definitely ask someone to tank or ask for a third, not even a third healer. They just have way too much pressure. You could tell. You have Scarlet Witch, you have Emma, you have Thor. Like, that's a lot of pressure on a Strange. It's not like he sucks. That's a lot. That's hard to deal with. Unless you know exactly what to do. So I think swapping to tank was definitely the correct choice. Without a doubt. I think it was the correct choice. When did you decide to swap, though? Oh, now. Yeah, okay. Now we're on offense. I don't really think we need to, but it's perfectly okay to try. My position is definitely better at Rocket. You're right. I like to be involved when on Rocket, but you're not really doing anything. I will say I like that you're weaving in your shots, though. Pro place. This is where I got upset because they wouldn't let me help Strange tanking. Yeah, I would have helped. You weren't wrong thinking that. Like, obviously, there's things we could have done better, but that guy was struggling. It was really obvious to see that he needed help. So, because we're winning, you're just kind of going deep, which is fine. But remember, when you're playing the thing, you want to try to save your run to get away rather than your run to engage unless you are, again, winning the fight. Never do that. You're going to get exploded. The thing about this character and certain characters like Cap and Hulk, and like they teach you kind of the wrong way to play. But when you get to a certain rank, it's not going to work no more. And you're going to be like, why is this character so bad? They're going to light you up. So be very careful about just running in there like that. What you're trying to do is you're going to hop on them, punch, and you're going to see, am I getting attacked or not? If you're getting attacked, you run through the rest of their team and circle around, or you just turn and try to do it again. If you're not getting attacked, you get the KO. He is very simple. Like, he is one of the most simple tanks in the game. But you have to play it like that. He's an opportunist. He's not someone who just can do what he wants to do. If you try to play like that because it's so big, he's gonna get blasted. So just be careful. I mean, look, you literally almost got KO'd there. It's that serious. So try to don't do that. You did it again. Don't lead with that. If you take anything out of this right now, don't lead with that ever. Ever. I even do it sometimes on accident, and I'm just like, ugh, because it's so easy to lead with it, but don't lead with it. It's better that you run away than it is you hop away. It's just way harder to pull off. You love running, bro. Don't think you needed to ult. Just kind of the same thought process here. I think we just struggle on how to use our ult properly. I have a video on it, but just kind of to summarize, we want to get the most out of our ultimates. If Strange ulted, we won the fight already. You know what I mean? You don't always need to stack ultimates if it's not necessary. So a great character that you would be stacking ultimates with would be Bucky, right? It's easier for Bucky to land his ult with your ult. So we should probably try to ult when he has his ult ready. But to stack your ult with a Strange, it doesn't really make much sense because he does what you do. You know what I mean? So if you're looking to try to use your ult with somebody, just press tab or whatever button you use for your game and see who would work well with your ult. Who needs it probably the most. And then when they have it, fire off your ult when you can. 9 times out of 10, they'll just fire it with you. Okay? But we definitely are struggling with when to use our ult. And I think if you can get that down pat, you're going to be a god. I don't really see much else other than that. Because that is transferable through all roles. When you ult, get the most out of it. And stop running in. I feel like I'm going to see this for the rest of the replay. But I'm telling you. Look about it. What are you doing when you run in? What are you doing when you hop in? It's almost identical, no? You're just going in there to be in their face and create space. It's the same thing with hopping in. Just not as loud, right? And you get damage reduction. And it's quicker. It's like literally boom. That's that, right? When you run, it's so obvious, and then you're stuck. It's just not, don't do that. Trust me. So when you're fighting, you're looking for someone else to hop on. You're playing too team-oriented, and I think that's kind of stemming from Rocket as well. You're playing so like, I'm your tank, I'm your guy, I'm your tank, I'm your guy. I knock them up, I do all that. No. Tank's jobs aren't to just be there to be there. You can impact the match quite a bit, but you have to play like it. So you could be that guy, but when they give you an opportunity to start clapping cheeks, you need to be ready to start clapping cheeks. Here's an example. I think you did everything textbook. This was great. Look at you. Boom. What's up, baby? Boom. What's up, baby? Boom. What's up, baby? Hello? Look how far this guy. If you hop on this guy, do you if you hop on this guy, does it not do the same exact thing that you've been trying to do running into the team with the other ability? If you hop on this guy, all these players are going to turn around and focus you. You punch, and keep doing this. Punch, and as soon as they get close, run. Hop back to your team. You created, look, that's so much space, bro. Your team gets all this for free, no taxes. Because you just jumped when they gave you the opportunity to do it. And if they don't turn around, you get a free KO. And then you clean her up. And then you clean her up. Boom, triple for you. Triple for you. So stop thinking about, I'm the guy in the front. I'm the guy that's trying to make space and drive through the team, because that's not how really any tank works. You can't walk through a team. What you're looking for is opportunities that you can take advantage of that will lead to opening their team up. Does that make sense? Sometimes you can't do that, and the team's defense is so good that you have to sit there and wait for a DPS to fire an ult or wait for your support to fire an ult. But you're at a great rank to practice these things, so that way when you get high enough, you're going to notice it on the spot and you're not going to miss that window. Because if you miss that window, you're probably going to miss your chance to carry. Every role in this game has this type of carry potential. So it goes like this, like that, like that, like that, right? Carry, moment, carry moment, carry moment, carry moment. A lot of players try to pull a carry moment down here, down here, down here, down here, and they say, my team sucks. You can't carry throughout the entirety of the match. You only get specific spots to carry. You need to make sure that you see those spots when that door opens. Otherwise, you will lose almost every single game if you're relying on your team to win. So, if you were to try to hop now, this is your window. If you don't take it, you miss one chance to carry the game. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much how you think about it. I would just hop on the target and then use the run. Okay, I'm away. Yeah. No, you definitely want to use it to run away. You could use it to continue to fight if you're really safe, like really safe. But 9 times out of 10, you won't be. So you like the U-turn shift? Yeah. If you do the U-turn shift, if you jump on somebody and do the U-turn shift, you get a shield, plus you're taking minimized damage if you made a mistake, right? So let's just say he hops on, boom. And they instantly turn on this dude. Well, you can instantly turn around, take 30% damage reduction, you already have a shield, and you go back to your team and hide right back behind here, and you shouldn't be damaged that much. If you run in, hop on him, you're going to have to figure out a way to get out. If there's bodies blocked, you can't jump away. There's just so much that can go wrong from trying to jump out then run out. Especially if characters have CC, because you will get locked. You see? That would have been a KO. Like, hands down, if you just jumped on that dude, you're playing so slow. You have to be ready. You have to be ready. Think of him like a boxer. That's pretty much how he is. The dude's a boxer, right? You're not trying to be slow. You need to strike when it's strike time. You could have solo carried this entire fight yourself. I do like that disengage. That was hot. Oh, but don't run back in, brother. You don't have any cooldowns. You just used them all. You crazy. You wild child. You a wild child. Okay, now you're just doing random stuff to do random stuff. Nothing's really being accomplished in this part. So when you're trying to dive, because more or less he's a dive tank. He could dive too. When you're trying to dive, you got to make sure it's doing something. You can't just be in the back. This is something. It's hard to learn. Don't get me wrong. This was one of the hardest things for me to learn when I played dive. You really have to think about, is this dive doing anything for my team? And you need to know that it is. If it's not, go back to your team. You went so deep that you can't even go back to your team if you wanted to. You're crazy. You're crazy. All right, bro. You're mental. You're mental. Can't even teach you anything. You're mental. Where's your straitjacket? Call them people right now. You're actually just crazy, bro. I don't know what's crazy. You doing it or it working? You're crazy. All right, this is definitely one of those things where you'd be eaten alive if you played in a higher rank. And you know me, I don't sugarcoat. I don't want you to get to higher ranks and then just get obliterated because of stuff like this. You're too active. You're a little too active. You can abuse players when they're like not doing well, but you're like going above that. You're like crazy active. If I had any advice for playing the thing, play around his abilities. If you don't have abilities, don't play the game. You always need to be able to have a jump to go in and a run to go out. If you can fight kind of like how you're doing right now, where this is in front of your face and you can walk forward, perfectly fine. That's okay. But you're like going super deep with no abilities and having no way out, and you're lucky. Don't do that. This is just more of a slap on your wrist type of session here. Like, it's not like you're bad. You're just like overconfident. It's hilarious. Like, you're like, bro, ain't nobody gonna mess with me. Get out of my face, bro. What you doing? What you doing? But then, like, it happens every time. You're like, oh, I made a mistake. Not today. Don't do. Play slower, my guy. Don't do it. Play around his abilities. When you go in, have a reason to why you're going in. Don't just go in because you can. Really, really have a reason on why you're going in. And then if it's not working, run away. I promise you, when you have it more, when you have that rhythm, like I played Thing, I think on my last stream, maybe the stream before, you're gonna notice there's a rhythm. In that rhythm, once you get it down, you create space on accident. It's really cool. And the Thing is one of the only characters that work this way. If you go in and you fail, you could choose to turn around and run, or you could choose to run through them and curve, because I don't really know what you're doing. That in itself creates space, even if it's just a little bit. And so if you keep doing that over and over and over again, and you're unsuccessful, you're still creating space. If you do it right and you're successful, you win the fight, or you create massive amounts of space. This is why it's important, because you get way more value out of this character by just waiting for your cooldowns and playing to the cooldowns. He's not Thor. He's not Cap. He's not all these other characters that don't really need to play around his cooldowns. That is a cooldown-based character because he's so slow. So you always need to figure out how to play around those abilities. Like, I know he got some changes and I didn't read them yet. I'll be reading them on Friday when I stream. But so I don't know how much it's going to matter after that. But if it's the same, you play around this dude's abilities. I'm pretty sure it's not going to be so much of a change where he's just different. You play around this dude's abilities. Remember, the Thing isn't just like a protect character. This guy can carry a match. He's strong. I actually used him one season because Cap was horrible. Cap was horrible. I used him one season, and my win rate was like 80% in like eternity. Bro, this character's nasty. But you got to play him right. You got to play him right. And it took a lot of games for me to figure him out, because I was like, bro, this character's garbage. But once I figured out that's what you had to do, it's so simple. It's so simple. So I think just to be transferable to your Rocket gameplay, it's just the abilities aren't being used properly in terms of like you could time it better. You're not wrong using them. I just mean that you can time it better to get more effectiveness out of them. And also, you're just doing too much. You don't need to be so active as much as you think you need to be active. As long as you're winning the fight, you're winning the fight, right? You only need to be as active as you need to be. For the most part, I don't really think that was a bad game at all. And I also think that was a good swap. There was nothing your team could really do for you that guy just couldn't take. So I think that swap was, I think that was a great swap. I don't have any comments on that one. It definitely goes to show you take what I say. I don't know if it's just me. Maybe you watch other people too. But just based off what I've said over the past few like streams and just my videos, it definitely goes to show you put that thought. You put that thought in when you made that decision. So I like to see that. I like to see that for sure. All right, this person says, hey, Poppin', I'm really getting into taking the last 3 seasons after being basically a magic one. Oh, you just ruined my whole morning with that one. I'm just kidding. With flexing supports, and I normally do decent, but I find I often struggle with dealing with a lot of pressure and on my feet decision making. A lot of it is target priority. All right. So let's check a peek. Oh, we're playing cap. We got a cap game. Oh, he swapped, or she swapped. Is it the same map, bro? What's going on? Thanks, Papa. Yeah, no problem. You're stuck at work. That's okay. That's okay. This is just because the replays would reset. Nice wife. If I didn't do it now, we would never get it. So I just pulled it off now. But hello, hello. Oh, we're playing Thor. Okay. Okay, here, let him go. 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 Always objective. This thing matters way more than anything else. You don't need to KO anybody if they just let you walk it for free. And they're letting you walk it for free. So let it go. No matter what rank you're in, just let it go. Because this just puts you in a position to get your team wiped. Even if you think like... Again, see, Murray, you're not the only one. There's a lot of players that are just really active for no reason. You don't need to be so active. You don't need to do all this work. Be lazy sometimes. Kick your feet up. Sip a Capri Sun, something. Like, this is too much work, even for me. I'm looking at it and I'm exhausted. It's just not necessary. Stay on point. Like, well, just stay around it. I don't mean like permanently sit on the thing. But stay around it and think about how you need to push the point. That's all you have to do. This is good, right? We're pushing forward. I'm liking the target priority is good. Good, good. You see, just like the thing, you could stay deep in there if they're not attacking you. It's free. It's free. You should be able to secure him and you should dip out right after. Shouldn't go for him because you might get lit up. Okay. This fight's all over the place. There's a lot of what we shouldn't have gotten away with here. If we get a KO, especially if we're playing tank, we need to learn how to like dip out instantly. Because you're gonna get shot right after. Like, that's always something you have to think about. If you dive as a tank, if you go to the back line, you are going to be focused in a few seconds, maybe even a second. So you need to have an exit plan if you start getting attacked, and you need to have an exit plan after you secure a KO, because you can't look at what's behind you as you're focusing on what's in front of you. That's just not how the game works, unless you have comms. So be very careful about going too deep like this, because you're just ignoring the rest of your team, and you could put yourself in a really bad situation. They're solo taking with Thor, so you're kind of getting away with playing like that, which makes sense, because I was like, this fight is literally all over the place. But that wouldn't fly. So be careful. So far, though, I think the target priority was fine. You saw that the Adam Warlock was taking your lightning bolts to the face, and you rushed him. What's up, Nash? How you doing? Hello, hello. Rengar, hello, hello. Okay, so this is kind of one of those hard situations where you push it to I think there's one on every map where you push the convoy to a spot where it's very hard to get back. So you have to think about, well, how can I get back to point, right? Because you're in a long, narrow way, and like you're playing Thor, and you know, like it's just hard. It's just hard. It's hard. There's a lot of spots on multiple maps that have situations like this, but you have to think about your strengths and your weakness. As Thor, you don't really have good range without your lightning bolts, right? So what we should do is try to fly to one of these points, toss a few lightning bolts, right? If they're chilling right here, it's going to back them up, or it's going to make them sit right there. These maps are not just these maps aren't just meant to be beautiful. They're meant to help you be able to play the game. So use the foundations that they built to help you play. So we dash here, fire shots out, right? If they back up and they go here, well, you dash over here and you light them up this way, right? After you light them up that way, they're probably going to pull back and go this way, or they're going to pull back and just walk here. But it'd be pretty dumb for them to walk from that spot to left, because if they do that, you should be able to just finish them off. If they do that, then you go up here, right, and you get up on top of them. What they're going to do is they're going to hear your loud footsteps, and they're going to be like, oh, crap, people are above me, and they're going to walk back even further. This is how you pressure the team. The job as a tank is to pressure. You need to know how to pull this off on every map. You do this by slowly inching yourself forward. You can't run them down. It's just not happening, especially in a long, narrow place like this. Doesn't matter what tank you are, no tank can really pull this off for free. You have to take these little side areas. And again, you're the driver of the bus. If you start pulling forward like this as a driver of the bus, where's your team going to stand? They're going to think it's okay. And they're going to get lit up, just like you see their team just standing all in this little box. For what? If you manage to get this close to Thor and you ult, that's a lot of KOs for free. So remember, the people are going to stand where you stand generally. Just kind of make sure when you're approaching situations, you're doing it a little bit more methodical. So that way your team understands you're not rushing. You're just kind of slowly moving forward, and they can choose how they want to play the game. Let's see how you take the approach, though. Okay, it doesn't even matter. Your team just did it for free. I mean, like I said, they have one tank. Oh, they have two now. So it might be a little bit more difficult. Good escape. Don't really worry about the Jeff. Okay, that right there was really solid by you. But the issue is, we just like went to fight for no reason. And, oh, you can't see my drawings? I'm cooking you guys. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I wasn't drawing that much. I just started, so you guys didn't miss anything. There was not really much to draw. Let me be honest with y'all. All right, you guys should be able to see it now. Gamers, are we gaming? So basically what I was saying, I could redo that point. Like I said, I wasn't really drawing before, so don't worry. I was more of just talking. But I was drawing for that. So what I was saying was that when you pressure, you need to know how to pressure these spots. So if most maps have these really long corridors, right? And if the cart gets into a weird, awkward spot, it's very hard to go back because the cart was kind of your cover to get there. But if you guys get wiped, you don't have that cover anymore. Well, the map is strategically designed for you. You just have to make sure that you pay attention to it. So if we're playing Thor and they're all in this box, which they were at that moment, right? Or maybe they're up here, whatever, they're just defending. You can dash here and you can start lighting them up. Boom, 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 right? If you do that, they're going to try to move into cover. You're going to then dash this way and light them up. You have angles on them. They don't have angles on you. Boom, 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 boom. They're going to either retreat this way or they're going to go this way. And now, because their entire team was in this box, because remember, the tank is the bus driver, right? The tank is the one that people follow all the time. Well, if the tank is standing here, which they shouldn't have been, they should have definitely been standing more here. If the tank is standing there and everybody else is like, well, I guess I'll stand here too. It's safe because my tank's there. If they let you get close enough, you could do two things. You can go up here and you're going to scare them because they hear footsteps and they're going to walk back. And you're pressuring them without really having to do much. Or you could just charge in with ult, go up, and you're probably going to get a few KOs off of it. The job of the tank is to pressure, and you need to know how to pressure slowly. You need to know how to not just straight up dive in there because you're going to get exploded, especially the higher rank you go. This is why a lot of the times when you guys see me play, I do play really slow sometimes, like really slow. You'll see me sit in the same location for at least like 30 seconds, but that's because you have to. Stuff like that isn't really, stuff like that isn't really able to be avoided. Sometimes you do have to play slow in order to gain extra points. So like this is what I was talking about. You see, like realistically, if there's two tanks fighting right now, I think they just swapped and they're coming down. Yeah, they are. So if there's two tanks fighting right now, you can't push this by yourself. There's nothing to push. You see how she's getting like overloaded by damage? Realistically, you'd have to be slow. So you would start here, fire some shots. Boom. They push back, start here, fire some shots to that guy. Boom. They leave you. You can dash over here if you want, or you can just take this angle over here so they can't shoot you. Light them up, light them up, light them up. You go here. Your team is able to still heal you because they should be safe in cover. They see you using it. And you should be able to play the game. And you just slowly get going forward more and more and more. That's what I was explaining. All right, let's keep going. So this point here, I actually liked. This was fine. You go down, you do what you're doing. You run away, you're like, bro, I'm dipping out. Boom. I don't like this. The reason this is bad is because you're going back into a fight, you have no clue what you're looking at. Right? Like, you don't know what's down there, you can't see. You're not even looking at what's over there. You're just going into just to fight. You have to know how to disengage from a fight when it doesn't look like you could win, or if you don't have enough information. Those are the two reasons to disengage from a fight. If you're ever playing tank, DPS, strategist, doesn't matter. If you don't have enough information to say that you can continue fighting, then don't fight. If you already lost the fight, don't fight. This right here, I would have instantly just walked this way, dropped down, regrouped with the team, and started fighting from here. That way I'm safe. If I'm wrong about the fight and we're winning, then I can just easily continue to fight with them. If I'm right, I'm safe. I just wait for my team to come back and I can hold the point. You just kind of wait for them to spawn back. You know what I mean? All about playing smart. But we just went down and didn't really know what was going on and got KO'd for it. I just think you're probably playing a little bit too much. Just like the last replay we went over, you're very active. You don't need to be. This is what I was talking about. You see how you're trying to brute force it? You can't do that. You're gonna get exploded. You gotta be slow. Come over here if you want to. Light them up. Lightning. Light them up. Lightning. Come over here. Lightning. They're gonna either move or they're just gonna get KO'd. And if they're looking at you, your team can then just walk down for free. There's a lot of ways to pressure. You just gotta make sure that you're trying to do one or the other. But trying to brute force it down like this, it only works in low ranks. It won't work in high ranks. It's not going to work. And as I said before, I don't want you guys to learn something because it works in an area, and then you get to a higher rank, and then you wonder why you're not winning games anymore. So this is why I bring it up. So it's not like I'm like crap talking you guys if you're one of the players that make these type of mistakes. I just don't want to see you making these mistakes later down the line and end up losing matches because of it. And then you're frustrated and stressed out because you did all this work climbing. You got to where you were doing the same thing, and now I'm losing. It must be my team. No, it's because we learned the wrong way the whole entire time. But it is pretty much the same thing back to back to back. You see, we're basically just trying to brute force our way through. And you did say you were a magic main. You're not going to say stuff about magic mains. Not in this. This is a Heroes Huddle. We love everybody. But I don't have a problem against magic mains. I have a problem against the character specifically. But anyway, that character doesn't have to think about stuff like that. That character is so fast that she can get in, get out, do what she wants. She hits harder, right? Thor is very clunky. He's very slow. He can't do what she can do. And you can tell that it's punishing you because that's the only way that you know. You only know that because magic teaches you that. Until you get to a high enough rank where that don't work no more, then you have to learn how to actually play magic for real. But she can get to pretty high ranks without actually having to learn anything like that. And a lot of the dive characters can do this, not just DPS, but Cap can pull it off, Hulk can pull it off. It does get to a point where people just get stuck because they didn't have to play the right way, so to speak. You have to be a little bit more slow. You have to be a little bit more intentional with what you're doing. And you have to pay attention to the rest of the team. If you can do that, it'll be a lot easier. But you're working overtime as well. You're like really trying to get in there and fight 24/7. You could just toss lightning sparks. Just relax. Capri Sun. Lightning sparks. All you gotta do. You're playing so hard. Oh, going Hulk? Now we got a show. Now we got a show. This is better. You see how you're not working overtime? You're just punching what's in front of you? Yeah. Use cover, though, because you're getting lit up. Make them kind of come to you, so that way they're not going to get healed, and you can fight them here with your team. But for the most part, yeah. Oh, that sucks. You jumped when you dashed. I think you guys lost that fight anyway, but that was the concept. You don't have to do a lot of work. Just relax. This fight's over. There's no way. If you guys win this fight, you're GOAT. Oh, that was nice. Gaming? All right, Roxas, I see you. Oh, your Luna wasted that. Oh, hopefully you guys can finish though. I just realized they have an Adam Warlock. Y'all better win. Yeah, I think Thor just might be your kryptonite. You play a little bit more conservative there, but it could just be because we were in overtime. What I would say, though, is just I think you're playing a little bit too quickly. I think, well, not even just that you're quick. You're just playing too much. There's not really any intention in your gameplay because you're always doing something after the other, after the other, after the other, after the other. You need some breaks. Pause for a second. What are you about to do next and why? And then go after that. The difference between this replay and the last replay is that Murray fought a lot, but there were some breaks. Like, you're just in to fight for no reason. At least Murray fought. He knew they were fights, I guess is the best way to say. What you're fighting, you will fight regardless if it's a fight or not. You just fight. You have to at least know why you're fighting. And if you could pull that off, then everything else should fall into place. But that was, yeah, you were fighting a lot. But it could be because you're playing Magic. I don't think your target priority was bad. I just think because you're playing so moment to moment, you're playing so fast, you don't have enough time to think about what you're doing. And it just leads to you doing random stuff. So I wouldn't worry too much about what you were saying because it doesn't matter at the end of the day. No, your brain just can't think that fast. This game is way too fast paced for your brain to catch up if that's what you're doing. Yeah, pacing out is good. The queen shall not be blasphemed. I'm not gonna talk about Iron Fist, Jeff, or anything. We're here to learn. This is look. I can control myself when I think about you guys coming first. But when I'm playing my game, it's about me. And that's when I start firing off shots. All right, this one says, hey, Papa, I was bad with tanking in the first round, but changed to support in the second round. I literally gave it my all in healing, getting 25k in round 1, but we lost. I'd like some guides on tanking, and if possible, then how to heal as if solo healing. I don't think it's possible. You're not solo healing. This is way too much damage in this game. If you're forced to solo heal, you're probably gonna lose. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's not typical. There might be those one-off games where people are like, well, I won solo before. It's not happening. You get mowed over. You need 2 healers. It's very hard to solo heal. Your team has to be on point. All right, so let's see. I'm gonna take a look at the tank part, and then we're gonna take a look at the healing part. We'll probably get through all the games today.
4, 3, 2, 1. You need to stop that vehicle in its tracks.
All right, one thing to remember, again, you don't always need to be in the front. This is kind of like a running theme, I think, for all the tanks that have been playing. All of them typically try to be the frontliner. You don't really have to be the frontliner if you're not playing a character that needs to do it. Like Strange, where else are you gonna go, right? But Thor, you could chill. You can be up here and start firing some lightning shots, and then drop down. You could be up here and so you could break this little wall, and then start firing off lightning shots. Like, you don't need to be in the front like this. It's fine. You can still brawl, but just remember that that's not always what you have to do, especially if your team isn't healing you that well. You're not going to survive. So just kind of think about it. Doing good. Just holding space. I like it. I like it. You're getting healed, so you're chilling. I would have probably just dipped out The thing with Thor is you got to know when you should leave. Here, I would have took my hammer out. I would have canceled the awakening and just went back to Rocket. Or maybe in there to get the health back. But you got to know when to leave. That's one thing as a tank you want to know. And I feel like that's one of the most important factors of tanking. You really have to know, are you going to survive or not? There should be a threshold in your head. It could be different for everybody. There should be a threshold in your head where you're like, I'm taking a little bit too much damage. I'm going to run away now because I don't think I'll be able to get healed. It's different for everybody. It's different for if you main a character or not. I know you guys see me survive on Cap with like 30 HP multiple times. But that's because I trust Cap a lot more than my other characters. But if I'm playing Thor, I'll probably dip out with, you know, like 100 HP, maybe 200 HP, maybe 3. If I'm playing Strange, it's about 5. Like, I'm not trying to get low with some of these characters. And you just got to know when to dip out. Because there's no objective here, there's no reason to fight. We should be fighting with our team. If you think about Thor more of a brawler than a diver, you're going to be playing with your team majority of the time until you see an opening. He's kind of like the Thing in a way. So you should be hanging with them and tossing lightning strikes. Smack people if they're in front of you. Wind it up. Look to get someone solo. And if they let you continue to fight them, continue to fight them. Otherwise, you just dash in, put your bubble up, awakening shot out, and you're playing front to back until you have an opportunity. A lot of what we've seen from this Thor and the last Thor is just straight up diving. People know how to play against Thor a lot better now than they did before. Old school Thor, like back in season 0, 2, 1. Why did I take so long to say that? Like Thor, he just run people over, and he just got away with it for free. Part of it is due to the rework, and the other part of it is people just understand how to play against that character now. So you can't really pull that off. That one was just a bad fight in a bad spot. It wasn't like you suck or your team sucked. When you're tanking, you got to figure out where you can tank. I say this all the time. These maps are strategically designed, so there's a selected amount of fights you can actually take. Some of you guys might be tired of me saying it because I say it so much. But there's a selected amount of fights you could take before the match is over, or before each point is taken. These aren't split up for fun. These are actually split up to help you better understand the flow of the game. So, and for checkpoints, don't get me wrong. Each convoy map has spots where you can fight, and you should fight. So, if you think about it, if they break through this point, the first fight should be somewhere here. You should be able to hold here, whatever. You should be able to prevent them from pushing up. If you get wiped, the next fight should be here. You're holding here, someone's holding here, whatever. You're holding this area. You're never fighting here. Ever. So in theory, there's only 2 fights for this whole location. You try to fight here, and because you're the driver of the bus, you're the tank, your entire team said, okay, we fight here. And obviously, that didn't work. Your team is always going to follow where you go. So what you want to do is identify the spots that are good for fighting, and then fight around there with your team. If we fought here, right, and we won, they got sent back to spawn, we then come back, and we fight around here again. What this means is they have to beat us not once, because we already lost fight 1, right? This is fight 1. This is fight 2. They have to beat us on fight 1 again, and then beat us on fight 2 again. So they have to do the whole entire process over again, just like they just broke through. The only difference now is they don't have a cart to shield them, and so it becomes increasingly more difficult without the cart. If you guys lose fight 1 again and then win number 2, you then go right back and take the fight again here. And they have to keep doing this over and over and over. This is why the cart slowly backs up, because it is a disadvantage to not have the cart protect you. So it slowly backs up to reset the game again, basically, so that they can play the same fight that they played when they first broke through that door. Hope that makes sense to all you guys. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm not going to talk any deeper on that because that one's kind of complicated. But pretty much, you want to fight where it's beneficial for you and your entire team. Now, we did look at a lot of tanks, so we're going to go forward. I want to try to get through the other replays as well. Kind of cutting it close on time. So, looking at it now, we're going to Cloak and Dagger. Okay. You have to be very careful where you're standing as Cloak and Dagger. You're just kind of all out in the open. If you learn how to use cover with Cloak and Dagger, well, just in general, with Healer, you'll be able to then... Oh, you got it, Jeff. No wonder why you said solo. Let me stop. You learn how to use cover with any role. It'll be transferable, and you'll be using cover with all roles. But you see how close you are? You're really close. What happens when you're this close is I know you're trying to fight at the same time as heal, but you just get smacked with straight shots. You're gonna get KO'd because you're just next to people. It's not even that they're focusing you, you're just collateral damage. You can't do stuff like this. If you want to fight close, just get into a spot that's a little bit closer, and you can fight like right here. You're almost in the same spot, but at least you're safe. You know what I mean? Or if you want, you can fight up here with them like this. Again, almost in the same spot, but you're safe. You just got to be safe. But fighting like in the front like that means you're doing a lot more work, and you're always put in a position to get KO'd. Especially if they do stuff like that, where they just run behind you. If you position well, they're never going to do that, because you'll always be behind them no matter how far they try to run away. You know what I mean? You're keeping a buffer between you and them so that if they run back, you move back a little bit. That's pretty much how it works when you're playing support. Like, the best type of team setup is this: tanks first, DPS second, support third. If one moves back, the other should move back, the other should move back. That's typically how you would want a really good team setup. Typically. Here, you can't really see much. I do like how you're being safe kind of by hiding here, but you can't see your team. So you want to try to reposition, maybe stand right here so you can see your team. Do it when it's safe, but at least you can see your team and you're still in cover. You know what I mean? If they push a little bit further, you can still heal your team, you can still be here, and you're still in cover. You're still at a safe distance, you're still going to play the game. When you move around, it's always just about cover to cover to cover to cover to cover. Where can I be safe? Where can I be safe? Where can I be safe? If you're being dove by like Spider-Man or Black Panther or stuff like that, your game plan is going to change entirely. You can't play like that anymore because you're going to be secluded. You're going to have to play a little bit closer to your team. But you're playing closer to your team when they have characters that are really good at AoE, like Iron Man, Moon Knight, stuff like that. It's only working because they're not really that great. But the higher you get, the more you're going to take a lot of collateral damage, and the more you're going to be getting KO'd. I feel like a butt when I say that. Like, they're just not that great. So you're getting away with it. But like, I could tell they're not abusing it because you're getting away with it. So when I say they're not that great, it's not like everybody sucks in this game. I just mean they're not abusing what they could be abusing to win matches. They haven't learned it yet. Once they learn it, you're going to take a lot more damage, and you're going to start losing a lot more games until you clean up being safe. I think you're doing pretty okay. I think one thing, though, is that you should play around your cooldowns more. When you use your bubble and you use your cloak, or not your cloak, but your curtain, swap the cloak. And then use your curtain, fight. You can see when your bubble's off cooldown and swap back. Good cloak and daggers don't sit in one form most of the time. They flip-flop. You have no abilities anyway, so you might as well flip-flop. If someone's really low, then obviously get back on dagger and just heal. But if you could play like that, you'll be golden. Right now, it's kind of like your cloak comes out at really weird times, and your dagger stays out at really weird times. And when you do that, it makes you over aggressive when you shouldn't be. Because you're trying to get closer. You're trying to use the curtain to get closer, which I understand, but it just makes you a little bit more out of position than you would have been. It's hard. It's hard to really play like that. I'm not gonna front. Because you're having a really high uptime with buttons if you want to play that way rather than just heal bot. So this was kind of okay. This is what I mean. That was kind of good. Look. Throw the bubble. Don't get that close, but throw the bubble. Toss the curtain if you want to. But after the bubble, I would have definitely swapped the cloak from like right here and then lit him up. You're getting this guy heals because he's inside your bubble and it's on cooldown, right? You don't need to heal. The bubble heals way more than your primary fire regardless. So unless you need to give them that extra oomph in healing, swap the cloak. Light this dude up. Push him off point. But the way that you're playing it is like you're trying to be in the bubble too. Don't be selfish. Let this guy be in the bubble. You don't take damage if you're in cover, right? Don't use bubble as like a shield. It's not a shield. You don't take damage if you're in cover, so use walls as your shield. That way you space yourself out so you don't take collateral damage like you did. You're not necessarily wrong in your timing, just the positioning is not there. You know what I mean? Here's the same thing. We need to figure out where they're going to fight next and where can I stand. We already know the fight's probably going to take place here, so we could choose to fight maybe in here. I would try to break this wall if you can, so that way you can chill out and just kind of smack this way. You can choose to play a little bit up here. You have to be careful though, because if they have snipers, you're in trouble. You could choose to just play on point, so that way you're blocked by the cart. But, you know, you got options. You see how every time you throw the bubble, you just feel like you have to go into it too? Don't do that. Don't do that, don't do that. Throw the bubble, do the curtain if you have to, swap the cloak, light people up. You're better than my cloak and daggers. You didn't even go into the Moon Knight ult. My cloak and daggers would have just went right into that ult and got exploded. Nice, but you see how your other ability is up? So swap back, toss the ability, and then fight. It's about that uptime. That bubble should almost always be out when it can be, and then swap the cloak. Do your thing. Bubble comes back, swap back. That way, you're balancing your uptime of damage and you're balancing your uptime of healing. If you really, really need heals, stay on dagger and just keep tossing them. But if you learn to play through the bubble, through the curtain, let that heal, and as it's healing, you're focusing on swapping to cloak, throwing your curtain, doing damage. By time you're done, the bubble should be back. Throw the bubble again, and just rotate, 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 rotate. A lot of cloak and daggers do not play like this, and they make the games a lot more difficult than it has to be. But when really good cloak and daggers are playing the game, it shows. It shows. And I hate going against those ones. But if you can learn to have that uptime, you're going to be carrying max. This character is insanely OP. Insanely OP. I don't even know why she keeps getting buffs, but she does. And he. But if you that's the name of the game here. So I'd position better, and I would try to have higher uptime on both damage and healing. And you should be good to go for a while, because everything else is pretty chill. You kind of you already have the thought process of doing damage. It's just it's not really at the right time sometimes, and every time you throw the bubble, you try to walk into it. All right, we got 2 more, so we're gonna try to go through them pretty quickly. All right, this one is, I have lots of trouble judging team fights for when to ult, push, and retreat. Would like some positioning and target priority advice too. Okay. Usually for me, when it comes to ulting, I have a video on it. I said that before, but mainly there's 3 types of ults, but I'm probably gonna remember the 3rd one. So the first one is a defensive ult. It doesn't matter what role you are. You're using it because they're going to do something, and you need to use it as a defense capability. Even if you're playing Scarlet Witch, if you're ulting to take out a cloak and dagger that's ulting, that's a defensive ult, right? You also have a wipe ultimate. So this is going to be an ult that you pretty much use to just wipe the team. Star-Lord, Hela, stuff like that. You know it's going to wipe regardless, and that's what type of ult it is. So you're going to use it like that. And then you have a engaging ultimate. So something more of like cloak and dagger would be a good one. You can even engage. I'm not talking about, these aren't character specific. Sometimes the character can cross over. So Star-Lord is a great engage ultimate person too. If he just starts to fight off with an ult instantly, it actually helps win a lot of team fights as well. So it's not a character specific thing. It is something that gets flexed between all the characters, but that's just the mentality you want to be when using your ultimates. Is defensive, offensive, and engaging, most likely. I mean, not engaging, I'm sorry. Defensive, offensive, and wiping. Even the cloak and dagger ult can be used as a wipe ult. If the whole team's fighting already and you ult and your sole intention is to wipe the team fight, you can do that. You know what I mean? It's not to heal, it's to wipe. Same thing. Doesn't matter. All right. I think you were doing fine, Chaos. I just think, like I said, if you had higher uptime on both, you'd be great. And then again, you kept getting out of cover. But aside from that, I don't think it was a problem. I think you're just trying to brute force, but just be a little bit more methodical. Like I said, having the uptime, playing off the cooldowns, and you'll be chilling. All right, let's go back a little bit because I did miss a few. Did we port in? We did. So, all right, cool. You ported in. Just a little quick tip with teleports. Put them in a spot where like your team can choose where to go. So typically what I do is I put it like right here. Something like that. So that my team can choose to go left, they can choose to go down, they could choose to go down there, they could go wherever they want. The way you place this portal is like you only have one option when you come out this portal. Most players don't actually use their brain. So if you give them one option, they'll take it, right? So whenever you're playing Strange, if you could portal, if it's to just move your team to somewhere, try to put it in a spot where they can pick where they want to go, where they feel it's more comfortable for them, because you don't want them in an uncomfortable location. Really random tip, but it does help a lot. Trust me. I like that you didn't drop down. Okay, you're going back down now. Your team is in there. Somebody got picked off, so you're kind of in trouble. Yeah, I don't think I would have dropped down after I saw that person get picked off. Playing slow, cool. I don't like that you're moving a lot. So when you're tanking, you really have to think about what healers you're playing. Or what healers you're playing into. You're playing into healers that need to aim at you. So you need to not move so much. If you're going to move more strategically. So look where Jeff is shooting, right? This is kind of how you're moving when this guy needs to aim at you. As much as I can't stand you, Jeff, I know. So he's shooting like this, right? But you're moving kind of like this. What you should be doing so that he can hit you at all times is just doing this. You're in the same spot to him, but to the enemy team, you're not. You can even do it here if you want. If you have no cover, it's the same concept. Move back and forth, move side to side, but remain in that relative location so this guy doesn't have to always move around and try to heal you. Again, I don't like playing with Jeff's, period, but I do know that I have to play differently when I play with that character. So if we go back, he tried his best, but it's not his fault. It's not your fault he can't aim, right? He is trying, but it is hard when you're moving around so randomly like that. So if we look at it. Right here. Oh, that's not it. I swear I went back, bro. What? Replay? Okay, I'm gonna go back a little bit further. Just to prove this point. Then we'll get going. But it's definitely important. Okay, you see? You see how much you're like moving around? The dude has to like lock onto you, but he's having a hard time aiming at you. It's because you're moving around a lot. This guy's moving around a lot too, so that even further exacerbates the problem. But it is what it is. I don't like playing as Jeff. People who say Jeff is great are people who don't tank. I swear, tank players don't like this character. It just takes so much effort to play with them. It's already hard to tank at all. I just don't. Bro, give me a tank that works. Or give me a healer that works. Not really much you guys could have done. It was just kind of like a... You guys lost that fight already, and it was just one of those delayed loss fights. If you portal... I don't even think your whole team took that portal. I don't know. That was a weird fight at the start. Don't worry. Play slow. Play slow. Why all you tanks got the same issue? Play slow. Why y'all so aggressive? Why y'all so aggressive? Play slow. Play slow and wait for the moment. So, I know what you're trying to do, but do it from here. Boom. Boom. Bob and weave. Bob and weave. If they look at you, go this way. Bob and weave, bob and weave. You're always staying in the same location for them to heal you, and they don't really have to move that much. But you're not in the same location to them, right? Should someone give you an opening, that's when you walk forward. You can't, no matter what healers you have, you can't just face take damage. A good way to really do it as Strange. Here's a little tip. Only look to walk forward and be aggressive when your passive bar, your Maelstrom, is almost up. When it's like 80%, walk forward, smack a few, launch it. Go right back to where you were, rinse and repeat. Should someone be really out of position, you could just straight up KO them, but this is enough to continuously farm your ultimate. Once you have your ultimate, you're good to go. It's pretty similar to the thing, except, you know, not in the sense of jumping into the back line. Better than old Jeff? I agree. Because old Jeff didn't even want to play. You got to find somewhere to stand. I could be wrong, obviously, but I'm just going to say what comes to my mind because I've been in the same situation like this when I was playing. It just feels like you're kind of lost. There's things happening all around you. You don't really know what to do or where to stand. And like, you're just like in a really crappy spot and it doesn't feel good. This is why you really need to figure out what you're going to do before you do it and where you're going to stand before you do it. So that way you're not in a situation where they just flood you like this. And if they do, you have a backup plan. So personally, I would have held here and they can't push forward. Right? But you walked back in like a really hard spot, which made them overflow you. I always think of it like a tower defense game. You're here, you're blocking this, you're blocking that. They can come from here, but hopefully your team can handle it. But when you walk back like this, they can flood from wherever they want and you're getting overrun. You have to stand your ground. And the only way you can stand your ground is if you remain in cover. The more you do this, the more you're going to notice how much punishment you can take. Now, you are dealing with two divers, so it's a little bit more difficult. When you're dealing with divers, what you're looking to do is like Thor. He's not really a diver, but he can. What you're doing is you don't want to commit until they commit. So it's like Street Fighter, Tekken, these one-on-one games, Super Smash Brothers. You have a lot of these rush down characters where their goal is just bam, bam, just come get you. Eventually they run out of steam. When they run out of steam, when they don't have anything left, that's when you play the game. Then when they have their steam back, you gotta relax. That's how you play into characters like this. A lot of tanks, especially in high ranks, don't understand this concept, and their team gets demolished, and then they wonder why. It's because you're moving too far or too fast when your team can't play the game right now. You know what I mean? They have a lot more power when they have their steam. Doesn't matter what you do as Doctor Strange, you have no steam, pretty much. Like you're just a neutral character. They have steam. You can't outdo anything. So your only choice is to wait. So you'll see what I mean once they try to fight you again. Couldn't really do anything there. That was a great point too. You see how they're coming at you with ult. Nothing you can do. That's their steam right now. Let them have it. Let them have it. What much you could do. You gotta dip out of that. It does suck when you overcommit into a cloak and dagger and they just run you down. But the bright side is you have ult economy now. You guys have 2 ults. You guys should be able to win this fight. Don't chase. Don't chase. They're burning their steam. Let Thor do his thing. Let Magic do their thing. Eventually they'll run out. Then you pressure. So we should see you just wait for a second. No. She didn't do anything yet. Divers aren't dangerous until they get close. You're so scared of her that she's going to do what she does before she does it. She's getting value without her having to do anything. She has to come in first. Wait for that and play the game normally. All you gotta do. That goes for every diver in this game. You see? She didn't do anything. She took all your attention. And while your whole entire team just gets obliterated, you know? Yep, run him down. Run him down. That's what happens. All the steam was taken out. You guys didn't capitalize on it. Try to focus their healers just so they can't ult out. That's pretty much what it is. The thing is, though, you didn't realize that's what happened, so you can't replicate it. Like, I'm pretty sure you didn't know that's what happened until I pointed it out. That is typically what happens. And that's why when things go well and you're not sure, I'd recommend looking at a replay. Just look at it yourself just to see what went well. And see if you can take that concept. Again, they're steam, right? They have a lot of steam. Let them burn it. Let them burn it. Let them burn it. Back up. Let them burn it. You see how you're trying to fight? No. You can't. Let them burn it. Let them burn it. Back up. You got to give up space to take space. Let them burn it. Let them burn it. She's just going to wipe your team. That's magic for you. And then you could do what she says, behold, dark child. You just got to give up all the space. I don't even try to play the game when I hear that. I just let it happen. Again, let it go. They ulted. I know you feel like you're on a timer. You feel like you got to rush, but you just can't fight. So let it go. Back up. You should be back here with your team. Right? And then you should push together. They have no steam, so you guys should win the fight. Okay, they have steam. Back up. It's literally just a game of push and pull. Like, you're only getting KO'd because of that. I mean, you got to use cover too, don't get me wrong. But what I've noticed with this gameplay specifically, and I didn't even get that far into it, I could just tell it's a habit, is you're not sure when you should push and when you should pull. It's not even your target priority. It's not how you're fighting. It's you're unsure. And when you're unsure, it's not going to go well. Because if you're unsure, you're going to do something when you shouldn't. And when you're unsure, you're not going to do anything when you should. You know what I mean? So for you, just based off what I've seen for these first few seconds, understand when you should push and when you should pull. When does my team have the advantage? Did my team just use all their abilities? Did their team just use all their abilities? Did Strange just use his Maelstrom? If he did, he's defenseless. Did Scarlet Witch use her team up ability of Strange? If so, she can't do that much damage anymore for a little bit, right? Did Cloak and Dagger throw a bubble? These are things that I also mention when I stream, just because I know sometimes it's hard to take notice. I usually say, well, I can go on her because she used her bubble already and there's nothing that can, protect her. Or I'll go on this person because they already did that. I'll be aggressive because they already did that. Like, knowing when you can and can't do something is going to help you a lot, because if you can't do it, you back up and chill out. You're only wasting about 5 seconds. But if you try to do something when you can't and your whole team gets wiped, that's about 10 seconds of respawn time, about 10 seconds to get back to point depending how far it is, and that's even more seconds wasted on the clock. So it's okay to give up space. It's okay to give up seconds, but just make sure that after they're done, go ahead and take it back. All you need to do, when you have the advantage, push that advantage. When you don't. A lot of the times when you're playing tank, especially with the higher ranks, the advantages don't even come from you anymore. They start coming from your DPS and your supports. But in the rank that you're in right now, you can create those advantages when you see them a lot more frequently. And this is going to help you because you're going to be able to notice them a lot easier once you start climbing to the higher ranks. So it's not like you're doing anything bad. It's just the timing. It's just timing. So the next games that you play, think about that and think, how can I do this? How can I do this on time? And do I have that advantage? It really sucks because you're at the mercy of the enemy team when they're playing things like Thor, Hulk, Thing, Magic, Iron Fist. It does suck, but that's typically just kind of how you have to play against those characters. They're designed to be rush down characters. They're designed to be this type of characters. I would talk more, but I'm getting close to having to. I'm overextending my time a little bit already, but I want to get to the last replay real quick. So that's why I canceled it a little bit quicker, but I wouldn't have mind talking more. I think I was thinking I didn't want to give up space, but after walking back, there's not enough cover. Yeah, exactly. It's just not sure. When you know that you don't want to do it and you put yourself in a good position, you should be all right. It should be all right. All right. With this replay, they said, in this game, I feel like I really did my best and tried to make plays. I had a few Hail Mary plays. In the end, I feel like we don't have enough damage, but I feel like I could have done more. Okay, let's check. Let's see before I gotta go. I gotta go. We will be doing a stream tomorrow, by the way, for the new patch. I'm talking over the patch notes, talking about the characters, what my thoughts are, and then I'll play with viewers. And then we'll go from there tomorrow. So be there. It'll be around the same time as today. All right. I think that was just a bad fight. This is fine. Just you're definitely going to have to reposition because we have to deal with these pity nests. You always have to think about what's preventing my team from playing the game when you're playing DPS. And right now, it's the pity nest. So what we should do is reposition. There's a lot of ways to reposition on this map, and you should be fine. You could even come from this way, right? And just kind of look down. Boom, boom. Use the ledge as cover so that if you get shot, just kind of walk back. Take out the nest. Take out the nest. You're good to go. He's really good at taking them out, so it's a lot quicker. You can come from this way too. But your goal is to figure out what's preventing my team from playing the game and then do it. We shouldn't ignore Penny. You can also just snatch her up. Penny is very easy to snatch up. Snatch her up, knock her here. Boom. She's screwed. Not happening. But we're trying to brute force it and we get KO'd for it. Even if you didn't get KO'd, we still are trying to brute force it. The KO doesn't matter. I don't care that if you would have survived or whatever. It's how we approach the situation. We already can identify that the nests are the issue. So we need to take out the nest or we need to take out Penny. He is very good at taking out Penny. So you can just snatch her up willy-nilly. And it's fine. Looks like you guys lost off of that. Thanks, no problem. It's kind of like Yasuo and Genji players with Magic. They outplay themselves. Pretty much, yeah. As much as I hate them. That is actually facts. All right, what time is it? Okay, few more minutes. Let's go. Let's help Cameron. All right, we go Phoenix. So far, though, we just aren't thinking about how we can win the fight. So we just got to think about what's the problem and how to deal with it. Again, these are all the things that I'm telling you guys. I do voice on my stream. So I recommend you guys watching my stream, even just a little bit, and you can see what it looks like in real time with me sorting out these issues and dealing with all these threats that you guys deal with and the struggles that you deal with. Because I do try my best to voice through all of it. Unless I'm upset about Magic or Jeff or Iron Fist, then I might have, yeah, no. You might have lost to me. Hitting the thing because he's in front of you and no other problem, cool. I would just like for you to be in cover because you could have been taken out, but it's very good target priority. If you tag a few people and then, oh, you should wipe almost the entire squad. Again, stay in cover. I would like for you to have different angles. So right now we're just not taking angles. Take angles. Take off angles. Off angles are angles away from your team. So whenever their team has to look away, that's an off angle. That's an off angle. Off angle, just an example. So stand in areas where they can't just look at one location and shoot your entire team. Start taking more off angles when you play DPS. You'll be able to get a lot more advantages and a lot more picks. Sometimes even off angles could be flanking the enemy team. Like, you just have to get it down. Got a few more minutes. Good avoid. You don't need to focus that guy, focus the back line. You know that for the most part, this dude's giga overextended and there's no protection. You could probably one-shot those guys if you can aim. You can also just come around and deal with it yourself. You can even hide right here and deal with it yourself like that. I agree. A lot of people are blind to Ankhs and nests. Okay, we're still not in cover. I'm surprised you have not taken any damage. Oh, you have Ultron on you. Okay. I was like, huh? You're not punished for it right now, but use cover more. Okay, aim for the back line. They're clumped up when you're playing Phoenix. I would prioritize that. Your whole entire team's already looking at the thing. There's no reason for you to add your resources to that. Think about every situation as a resource given. If your team's already expending resources to deal with it, you could probably use your resources to go towards somewhere else. So you don't always need to focus the same target if there's other targets that are higher priority in your vicinity. I'd like to see you fire off your ult more. Again, tag people. If you land on them, it counts as 2 stacks. So if you tag them, you will actually get a 1-shot off of them in most cases. So just remember that. Okay. We're getting close. Watch a little bit more. Same thing, getting the cover. So far, your team's doing pretty well. But again, focus the high priority targets, take off angles. If you take off angles, you'll be able to then focus that back line back there, and you're chilling, right? You can even go on the right side over there and take the off angle here and be safe because you're playing Phoenix. It's very hard to catch you and get shots off here, right? You're too much in your team when you don't need to be. And if your team sucks, they're going to get run over. So the way that you can create openings for your team is by just having a lot more off angles. And you'll be solid. You'll be good to go. Okay, I got to go. But I really wanted to try to get through as many replays as I could. I got through almost all the replays, if not every single replay. Thank you guys for watching. I do appreciate it. We'll be streaming tomorrow. Make sure you're there if you would like to go over the patch notes with me. If you would like to see my thoughts on Gambit, and of course play with me afterwards, because we always play together afterwards. But thank you guys for watching. Until next time, you know what I always say. Thank you guys for doing what? Pop it often. Well, often. Peace. Late. Have a good day. Night, whenever you're watching this.